I just come for the free food, free hospitality.
Yeah.
So you feel
And the little chitlins.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones.
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
You gonna go pee? Go. Go in there.
Yeah, everyone's like family here.
It's like having a giant family.
I've only been homeless like a couple days or weeks at a time, but it was mostly last year, a little bit this year.
Mainly when I was homeless, I usually had someone's couch to sleep on, or I had my car to sleep in.
I worked my ass
I went to
off.
Job Corps. I'm a Job Corps graduate from Tongue Point out here.
You got a positive Job Corps experience.
For the most part.
I've heard both ways.
Yeah, if you apply yourself at Job Corps, you can succeed. If you don't, then you don't succeed. You have to follow the rules. You have to, pay attention to bettering yourself. You get there for a change.
I used about every resource I had available. Being a guy, it's not nearly as easy, but I had like 6 months clean time. I only got in stuff for about a year, 2 years ago with my ex, and so I'm working on getting custody of a daughter back. And this place kind of reminds me that a lot of people are allowed to have custody that shouldn't, and I've got over a decade raising babies and still struggling in that.
I think it's always a challenge.
It's a gender type thing.
She went that way.
But at the same time, like, some of these people have houses and stuff, like, they just come for the food. Because we know everybody. It's a small town. We see some people come and go, but for the most part, the core crowd's almost always the same.
Mm-hmm.
I stayed at the warming center last year for like 3 months. Almost. It was too long. Maybe 2 months. I don't know. But it took a month or two. And then I was in the Seattle mission last year, but I used all the VA resources I had. Finally got my monthly stipend back to full norm. Got my license back. Remodeled a couple places in town, the lumberyard, the hotel. And then got my old job back, delivering, and then I was working on houses and just sort of quit that this week. But yeah, I was in the Marines from 99 to 07.
Wow.
And I got a degree from Clatsop up on the hill.
So what does he really want to do?
Work with kids.
We've actually been talking about that.
Yeah, I got baby 5 on the way.
Oh, wow.
I'm expecting little boy.
Yep.
I'm almost 16 weeks, so.
Yeah, I just applied at Parks and Rec, and they were like, yeah, we're looking for people, and that's what's really easy for me. That's my talent. Kids, pets, and plants. So.
I'm good with people. I'm social. I love people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Unfortunately, I don't have certifications, and now I've got a menacing thing. So it might be a challenge either way. I mean, I'm going to keep trying to pursue it. But I just applied.
But the menacing was only a misunderstanding. It wasn't like an actual.
Yeah, it was.
But the charges didn't get dropped.
Yeah. Even though my ex tried to get them dropped also, and they're like, well, that always happens. And then, when 2 people are in love, they want them back. I was like, yeah. So, other than that, I just been trying to keep on, and I went and reconnected all my college professors this week, and told them, yeah, I could be an assistant for them, be a personal trainer at the college, or, helping people.
Yeah, I, even as a Job Corps student, I'd still come out here and get to know everybody. I had a place to sleep. I wasn't homeless. I mean, if I didn't have Job Corps, I would have been homeless, but I'd still come into town and I'd hang out with everybody because they became like family to me.
Yeah, it's weird. Like,
they accept you no matter who you are.
She was showing me pictures, sorry not to cut you off, but of this guy last year that died in a wheelchair. Roy's dad. Roy's floating around. Where'd he go? And I was like, oh, Ronnie. Oh, yeah, I used to hang out with him all the time. I'm like, that's funny because we would hang out with him all the time, and I never met you last year. Yeah. But she's like me, too. Like, go ahead.
No, you're, I bond well with people, and I kind of make lifelong connections. I have kind of been part of didn't have my own place up until a couple months ago.
It's Ganawita, right?
And,
say it again.
Until then, I hadn't, I had been couch surfing or living with family or Job Corps. But, now, you know, I finally am at 23 years old, finally have accomplished something and can say, I mean, I may not have like literally slept outside in the cold or on the ground or under a building or something, but
You didn't have an address.
I didn't have an address. My car, when I was a senior in high school, I slept in my Ford Taurus that I had in the Winco parking lot in Vancouver, Washington, because I didn't have anywhere to park it that was except for the Winco, because it was 24-hour parking or open 24 hours. I felt like it was wrong, but my family, you know, they gave me the assistance that I needed till I was 18, and then when I turned 18, they were done, and so they booted me, but I don't know, I can't say, you know, it was a bad thing or a good thing, because I wouldn't be where I am today, and I wouldn't, you know, be in the situation I am, and I wouldn't know the people I know if it hadn't been for them, and I wouldn't have the life experiences. For the most part, yeah. I got to know a lot of people. I've made some really good friends, and I mean, I made some enemies, not gonna lie. I had a lot of, and I had family turn their back on me when I changed lifestyles. So they didn't agree with my choices, no. And I moved to Idaho for a year, and they didn't agree with that, and we both are adopted, and we're in foster care for years.
Is that how you found
my
each
whole
other?
life? We had 150 kids go through our house, so I'm good with babies, good with little kids, special kids. Had all kinds of kids in our house, crack babies, you know, Down syndrome, and so I'm what you would call exposed.
My mom got us taken.
My brother stayed with our biological dad, and him and I look almost identical, but we're night and day different personalities. And
Hey, go, baby girl.
you know, I think it's
be careful.
half genetic, half environment. You know, almost everything is almost.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's almost
nurture
split
versus
50-50.
nature. Yeah.
I think it's almost split 50-50. Like,
I mean,
you know,
I was adopted by a rich family. My adopted dad's a computer engineer for Nike. My mom was a nurse for 15 years, and I was homeless, even with the, you know, and I lived with them from the time I was 7 until I turned 18. Yes, they didn't like that. Yes.
Sure.
Thank you.
No, we're gonna end up giving them out anyway.
You want a cookie?
What you want, a cookie?
Well, duh. Everybody wants a cookie.
Can I get 4 of them?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yup.
Sorry, sir. I don't know your name, but it's yeah.
He was, I met this guy in jail. I've been in jail once for one thing.
I've never been in trouble with the law.
And he shows up, and I'm like, he's like, hey, you want my muffin? Hey, you want my sandwich? You know, so.
Hey, you want a burrito?
He might look like he looks, but he's got a good heart. Almost everybody in this little thing.
I thought I had a burrito.
But I'm to the perspective too, after knowing so many foster kids that would run away from our rich house
Roy,
and go back to the ghetto because I'm from Lansing.
you want a couple cookies?
It's literally
She
divided
gave me the rest,
between
so
super rich
take a
and
couple.
super poor. And I was the only white kid on the street when I went back to my biological family. And so I think one of those things I have is able to perceive character, you know? Yeah, good character.
I haven't been out there a lot.
Yeah.
She brought me
And I think when you're asking about the homeless thing, like, I think most homeless people deserve to be homeless.
There's a lot of them that do.
Because I went from having basically it all when I moved here, my wife and kids, good chunk of money in my account, going to school, to just a few short years later having literally not an ID or a bank card, being in a Seattle parking lot, passed out drunk. You know?
But your choices led to your homelessness.
saying.
And mine, it wasn't, technically you could say it was my choices, but it was...
I did say that.
No, with mine. My biological family was, they were tweakers. Both of them. My dad went to prison when I was 4, and my mom couldn't take care of 3 kids on her own. So the state got involved and took us. I was in foster care for 4.5 years before we got adopted. And then
but then again, she has a better relationship with her biological mom, who's here now.
My mom lives
they
here.
Talk every 10 minutes. But
yeah.
her adopted parents are kind of like this, hey.
I always have to worry if they're only being nice to me because they want something. Yeah. And they try to buy my love.
Well, recently they helped me tow my vehicle from Portland to Vancouver. I blew it up. And I just got it this year for a good price. And, you know, he was just on the ball. He's a master mechanic. And she was like, hey, can you help with this vehicle? And they came and towed it from Portland
for free,
to Vancouver.
You know, drove 40 minutes both there and then 40 minutes back, and unloaded it, and you know, he's watching it, making sure nothing, you know, it's not going to get towed by Portland towing companies or anything, you know, so it's safe.
So I think she's in a lucky spot where they still will tear their shirts off for her. You know, probably worried
but it
about
took years to get back to that. Almost. I mean, maybe partially. It's kind of 50-50. Like, I still don't know if I can fully trust them after the hurtful things that were told to me. But I mean, yeah, I trust them. I mean, they're my parents.
In a sense, all that's required sometimes is an apology. You know.
Yes, but I was the one. Each time that things would go wrong, I was the only one that would make an apology. They wouldn't as well. And most of the time, it was both of us, my adopted dad and I, both reacting poorly to a situation, and both of us saying things that were uncalled for. And, you know, it was in the heat of the moment. We didn't mean them, but I was the only one that would ever say sorry. He'd say, thanks for saying sorry. And then expect for things to go back to normal. I didn't know if I was forgiven, if I was, you know, back to being his daughter.
Yeah, was not very clear cue.
No, and it still isn't. I still have never, you know, gotten an apology, but it makes me wonder, you know, am I ever going to get that? And he had this whole thing that, you know, respect is earned, not given, but I had to earn his respect. I wasn't going to be just given respect by him. I had to earn it from him. I have, and sometimes he gives me that respect, and sometimes he doesn't. So
she works very hard.
Sometimes you choose to, you know, drink, and it might lead to you being homeless. Sometimes you choose to do drugs, and it might lead to you being homeless. Or sometimes it's housing is too expensive, and it leads, or somebody else's influence leads to you. You know,
like I never did drugs till I was 35 because I was with somebody who had a career habit, and so I spent about a year getting into that habit.
And me, on the other hand,
some of those drugs are more habit. You know, like the addiction is hardly even there. It's just the habit. It's just the, you know, like for a year here, I would usually be over with the circle with a bag of weed. You know, because I loved it for 10 years, you know, and I didn't realize that I might have actually been addicted, not just the habit for that one, but like, it's kind of the camaraderie thing, you know. I didn't start smoking until I was 22 in the Marine Corps, where when I did, it was finally I had a group of smokers, you know what I mean? Right. Well, and also, you know, those influences are hard to get out once they become part, you know what I mean? Like once you make friends in it somewhere here, like for example here, most everybody smokes weed. Right.
Most everybody drinks.
But we got accolades here for not smoking weed, whereas like quitting hard drugs, most people are like, you're an idiot.
You know, a lot of people
not smoking weed, they're like, good job, dude. You know, we never thought you'd do that, you know.
They're like, I don't know how you can quit smoking weed.
They knew I'd get off hard drugs. You know, they knew that would be easy.